Hey guys, this is Berbick from Nike Golf. We're out here in our mobile tour van at the Phoenix Open this week. As you can see, we've got some great weather, giving out a little extra outerwear that we weren't planning on. So that's one thing we do in the van, but mostly we're here to take care of the players' equipment. Really anything and everything that they might need to feel like they're prepared to play this tournament, that's what we're here to do. We've got all the latest and greatest from the oven. The new VR Pro fairway woods. They're just starting to hit. The new VR Pro drivers. Actually, I've got one of those that's built. New VR Pro refinements to the compression channel, a little bit more of a player's shape this year. It's gone over really good. That's actually the driver that Jonathan Vegas used to win Bob Hope, and he's an incredible driver of the golf ball. He kills it. So that's we're really excited about having that in his golf bag. Pretty much this week, as for instance, Stephen Ames has experimented with some different lengths on his irons. Justin Leonard came in to double check his lofts and lies and redo his grips. Since he knew it was going to be cold, he wanted to have some nice, fresh, soft grips on there. We did a little work with Lucas Glover on that new Mach Speed Black driver, which he's really liking. Some drivers for Anthony Kim, and some new wedges and hybrids for Anthony Kim, which we'll talk about that behind me a little bit. So it could be anything and everything. The guys might, now all of a sudden it's windy, it's cold. Maybe they're not, they were able to get 3-iron to a certain long par 3, and now maybe they can't. They think, geez, maybe I should try a hybrid today. That's a possibility of something that might happen today since the conditions have changed. We've got all different types of shafts. Our shaft supplier partners, Mitsubishi, UST, Matrix, they're all out there taking care of us. Obviously, they want their product in play as well, and we want to provide whatever is the best for our athletes. We're here to take care of those athletes and make sure that they're 100% comfortable with all their equipment before they tee off. It's mostly, just the standard club making apparatus, swing weight scales. This is the machine to bend the putters. It's nothing, I know there's kind of, like a secrecy sort of thing. People don't really, like there's something different that goes on in here. It's really just solid standard club making is what we do. We use all the same machinery as anyone. I've been building golf clubs for 30 years and using exactly this same machinery pretty much the whole time. The difference really is that we know these athletes personally. We're right here with them. If Stuart Sink called me up and said, hey, build me 3 or 4 drivers. I've been building golf clubs for Stuart for nearly 15 years now. So I've already got a pretty good idea. If he says, I'm looking to turn it over a little more, I'm looking to fly a little higher, or whatever it is, that's going to make him feel comfortable that week. I'm not just going to build random drivers like you might walk into a shop and buy. I know what type of shafts he likes, I know what type of lofts he uses, and what we've done previously for him, so it helps us just fine-tune it that much closer for these guys. That's the real difference.
Very cool. Rob, so how often do you see a given tour player during a week, during a tournament event? Do you see them, more than once? Do they stop in? How often do they stop in the van?
Well, believe it or not, tour players are people too. They all have different personalities. Some guys like to come in and just hang out. Paul Casey is a guy that comes over, with some downtime. He doesn't want to sit in a hotel room if he's there by himself. He doesn't have his wife with him, so he'll just come out and hang out on the couch in the office and read the paper, watch ESPN. Lucas is that way too. He'll just come over and just sort of do his crossword puzzles and, shoot the bull with us. Other guys aren't, Justin isn't a guy, Justin Leonard. He comes over, he comes to the van. He's actually very meticulous. He likes to check his lofts and lies about every 4 to 5 weeks. He checks his lofts and lies, does his grips, whether he really needs new grips or not, but it's just kind of part of his pattern. That's how he prepares for a tournament. So it's just like any group of people. You run into different personalities. Some guys want to hang out. Some guys want to be out there hitting a lot of golf balls. Some guys would rather, if they're not practicing or playing a practice round or during the tournament, they'd rather be away from the tournament site altogether and go see a movie or whatever it may be. It's a pretty cool mix of guys. We're really, really lucky at Nike. We've got amazing staffers. All of them are really, really super good guys, and that's part of making them feel comfortable. This is a spot where if they want to come hang out, they're more than welcome. If they want to mess around with their equipment, they're more than welcome. If they feel like everything's great and they just want to leave it alone, fantastic. We're there for that too.
That's great. And so do they keep extra sets of equipment here in the van?
We do. Normally we have backup wedges. Wedges have become extremely important these days in the new groove era, where I shouldn't say that they wear down faster, because the material's still the same, but they start with a softer edge. That's a big part of the rule. So already beginning with a softer edge, we have found a little bit that the guys want to change to a fresher wedge more often. So we do have in the drawers on the other side over there, we pretty much keep a backup set of wedges for all of our players. We have some backup drivers for some of the players. A lot of the people want to keep those with them themselves. And of course we have all the club heads in here to build fresh anything else that anybody needs. Here, I'll show you. Here's a new one. This is the brand new VR Pro wedge. We've been talking a lot about the X3X groove pattern in our Pro Combo irons, in the VR Pro Combo. This is the VR Pro wedge. So this will be our first retail offering with the new X3X groove pattern. More smaller grooves, creates greater groove volume underneath the impact area. Anthony Kim has one of these in, and I believe Stephen Ames will be using these for the first time this week also. They don't actually, I think they'll be available at retail sometime this spring, so watch out for those in the stores. We're really just starting to work with the players, and they've been using prototypes of this for quite a while, since really the U.S. Open last year is when everybody kind of converted to this wedge, to this groove pattern. But that'll be our retail offering that you guys can go get in the store here this spring.
Yeah, that's great. And do you find most of the pros have some of the VR line in their bag, if not all of it?
Actually, the transition to the VR Pro Combo irons has been virtually seamless. Every one of our staffers went into it almost immediately. We're very lucky during the Colonial Week. Obviously, the oven is very close to Colonial, so we have pretty much all of our guys come over that week. And everyone was very, very excited about the iron. That's kind of where they hit the final prototypes. Okay, this is how it's going to be, and everybody sort of gets their final sign-off. And, I mean, to a man, it was like, when can I have my set? When can I get them? So everybody, Jonathan Vegas won with him at the Hope. John Cook won on the Champions Tour with him that same week. And then Paul Casey just won in Bahrain with that same set of irons, that new VR Pro Combo. So it's been really successful. And for us on tour, that's how we know that a product really is something different and something better, that everybody switches to it right off the bat. There's no struggles, there's no difficulties, so it's really a winner. We're really proud of it.
Very cool. Anything else? Any of the tour pros have the Mach Speed black driver in play?
Justin Leonard was our first Mach Speed black user. He immediately adopted that driver. Actually, at the end of last year. He's been using it since Disney last year. We've had a lot of guys working with that Mach Speed Black. It's a different style of driver. It's a little bit more of a forgiving, high MOI type of driver. As I said, Lucas has experimented with several of them. He's got an awfully good driver, and he has really, really good feelings with that club. So I kind of shot myself in the foot when I made that driver so good 4 years ago, because now I'm having a hard time making him a better one. But hey, good problem to have, right? Mach Speed Black is much more a forgiving style driver. So for most of our tour players, they're looking for a little bit more workability. They want to be able to flight the ball down. As you raise MOI and make the driver more forgiving, which works well for us choppers that don't play for $1 million every week, it honestly makes it more difficult in some ways for a tour player, because there are situations where like, I really want to be able to turn this one over. I really want to, knock this one down or cut it. That's why the bulk of our tour players are using either VR Tour or the VR Pro, like we talked about with Jonathan Vegas. It just gives that added level of workability that really makes it more appealing to a tour player.
And of course, the Method putter, that's in play in a lot of the tour players' bags. It's a great putter. Method
putter has been a huge hit for us, and really, as I see a lot of testing in the oven and all different types of players coming through there, from some of our other sport athletes like Charles Barkley or Jerry Rice, to our nationwide guys all the way up to our big PGA Tour players. When we're on the putter lab at the oven, it's a technology that works for absolutely everyone. No matter really what your style of putting or what your level of play, it really, really gets the ball rolling over so much faster without sacrificing launch angle. That's the big difference. A lot of times, putters that roll the ball over very quickly have zero loft on them. What that means is you're going to drive the ball into the ground before it starts rolling over. So rather than going up in the air and bouncing, you just sort of drive it in. It's like tiddlywinks. You drive it into the ground. Okay, so it is turning over, but it's still bouncing. Method, we're able to maintain a proper 3 to 4 degree launch angle and reduce people's skid. Justin Leonard was the first example that I saw. We reduced his skid by nearly 4 inches and maintained exactly the same launch angle over his previous putter. That's a very, very impressive difference. Now we're getting a lot more guys that are, we started working with Method Core, and again, we talked about Paul Casey in Bahrain. He was using the Method Core insert technology in his putter. That's something that the guys are starting to latch onto now also. It still has all that same technology as the Method, still creates that same fast forward roll that we've been looking for, but it does it in a slightly different way. Different way to achieve the same results. The Core technology encases all of the Method stuff within the insert rather than having to pour polymer in it and the different things that we did with the Method milled. That Method milled is a really, really high-end product, and there's a lot that goes into making it. It's difficult to make. It's really innovative in what it does. So now being able to bring that Method Core technology into a newer putter line gives it a little bit of a different feel because the materials are slightly different, but it still brings that same fast-forward roll that we've been getting off the milled ones.
Yeah, that's great. And so that's interesting. The Method Core is in play in Paul Casey's bag.
Yes.
Or it was at that one tournament, but looks maybe some other tour players will put that in their bag also.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now that putters are one of those things that seem to flop around a lot. It's like my own personal analogy is it's like the gum in the checkout lane of golf. It's sort of the impulse buy. A guy goes out and kind of has a couple bad putting rounds, and he's, let me try this, let me test that. Lucas Glover, as a matter of fact, earlier this week took a couple of Core putters to work with. Not that they won't go back to their old comfortable familiar putter, but it's sometimes you just kind of hit on something. You're just looking for, you pick one up on the putting green, and all of a sudden you make 4 in a row, and you get that warm fuzzy feeling, and it sort of gives you that boost of confidence. We are having more opportunity to work with those guys on Method Core shapes and styles now, and I'm sure you'll be seeing more of them go into bags.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's a great behind-the-scenes look at what the tour players come to the van for. So, thanks, Rob.
Hey, my pleasure.
And we'll see you at the oven again.
All right, you got it, man.